Yes, sir, you can
experience with-
continue.
Yeah. Okay. So this is about the different the hierarchical levels in the cognitive domain. As I mentioned earlier, it's difficult to frame questions on the higher order, but definitely um, for some more of exams or other maybe for continuous assessments, we can have different activities on the higher order. But for semester exams and internal exams, maybe the most of the courses you can go up to maximum analyze level or evaluate level. It may be difficult for a create level question to answer the prescribed time. So for your theory exams, most of your questions may be from the low order and maybe a few questions from the applying or analyzing level. Okay. Now, we will go through some of the slides again so that we will have some examples of questions. So learning is a process engineered in such a way that one level is a prerequisite for the other and learning takes place in a continuum. See, for example, without understanding a concept, you cannot apply it. And without analyzing, you cannot evaluate it. And only after the evaluation process, you can create a new idea. Okay. Now we will see one by one, starting from remembering level. Bloom's taxonomy level 1 is remembering. So the skills, what are the demonstrated skills? The ability of recall of informations like facts, conventions, definitions, technical terms, classification, categories, and criteria. So these are the some or ability to recall methodology and procedures, abstractions, principles, and theories in the field. Knowledge of events, dates, place, etc. Memory of subject matter. And the action verbs, usually these are the action verbs. The action verbs means we will start framing a question with these verbs like list, define, state, recite, recall, show, etc. These are the action verbs, and this is also available in the internet. You can search for Bloom's taxonomy action verbs. Now, these are some example questions I already listed here. First one, list the various domains in Bloom's taxonomy. So we have 3 domains: cognitive domain, psychomotor domain, and affective domain. So if you ask the student to list the various domains, the student will write the answer from his memory. Or if you ask a question like define multiculturalism, or if you go another question like name the union territories of India. These are all the level 1 questions so that the student can answer it after memorizing the concept. Okay. And the same questions, how we will frame in the understanding level. So these are the 3 questions in the remembering level. And suppose if you want to frame questions in the understanding level, the same questions, you can see the action verbs are different. It can be describe, explain, paraphrase, or restate, associate, etc. Here the skills, understanding informations, grasp the meaning of the concept, translate knowledge into new content, interpret facts, identify and associate the concepts, order, group, infer, process, etc. So the example questions you can see, explain the various levels of learning in cognitive domain. If you explain it with some examples, this can be an understanding level. The previous question was, what are the different domains in Bloom's taxonomy? Here is a different question. The student has to explain it, the various levels of learning in cognitive domain. There are 6 levels. The student has to explain it, even if with some examples, that is good. Then restate multiculturalism in your own words. So we are not asking what is multiculturalism or define multiculturalism. Here, the student has to restate multiculturalism in his own words. Discuss on the privileges of Union Territories of India. So more knowledge about the Union Territories required. Otherwise, the student cannot discuss on the privileges of the Union Territories. And these are same questions. We will convert it into the apply level question here. Here the action verbs: calculate, predict, apply, solve, etc. These are the action verbs. These are all readily available on the internet. You can download it. Then the skills: use methods, concepts, laws, theories in new situations. solve problems using required skills or knowledge, demonstrating correct usage of a method or procedure. These are the demonstrated skills under applying the level. Now, earlier we asked a question like explain the various learning levels in cognitive domain. Now the question is different. Frame few questions related to each domain in your subject. Okay, so there is a task. For example, you are asked to frame some questions based on the different taxonomy levels in your course. That means you should understand the concept of Bloom's taxonomy, then only you can apply it. Okay, so that is an application level question. Or illustrate few multicultural practices in education. So the multicultural practices you are applying in the education sector. Okay, that requires more knowledge about the concept called multiculturalism. Then only you can apply it in a different situation. Then sequence the union territories in terms of patterns or legislatures. So you have to study more about the union territories, the privileges, the patterns of legislatures, etc. Then only you can sequence the union territories. Okay. So these are apply level questions. And coming to the analyze level question. Okay. Here again, what are the skills? Break down a complex problem into parts. Identify the relationships and interactions between the different parts of complex problem or situations. Identify the missing informations, sometimes the redundant information and the contradictory information, if any. So these are the demonstrated skills. What are the action verbs? You have to classify or you outline certain things, break down, categorize, analyze, compare, illustrate, all these are action verbs. Now, the same questions in the previous slide, we will be converting into analyze level question. Categorize the given questions into various levels of cognitive domain. Okay, that means if that is one of the tasks I will be giving today, you can refer one of your old question papers, maybe last year's question papers, and you can classify the questions into different levels in the cognitive domain. So that is an analysis. Okay, if you are able to do it, then you can analyze, you will be acquiring that capability. Then compare the practice of multiculturalism to monoculturalism. So again, you have to analyze the practice of multiculturalism and you have to study about monoculturalism also. Then only you can have an analysis of both. Examine the fundamental difference of union territories and state. So here, an in-depth knowledge is required about the union territories and also the state. Okay. Then only you have to find out the difference. Okay, you are comparing it, you are analyzing it. Okay, so when you go up the higher order, definitely more knowledge is required. Then comes the fifth level, that is evaluating. So here, compare and discriminate between ideas, assess value of theories, presentations, make choice based on reasoned arguments, verify value of evidence, use of definite criteria for judgments. Action verbs: assess, decide, choose, rank, or grade, test. So NIRF ranking is another example where the team will be analyzing the various aspects and then coming with a judgment. So that the NIRF team, they are actually ranking the institutions. So that is the evaluation. Okay. Here you can see the action verb rank. Now, what are the questions? So the previous questions will be converted into evaluating type questions here. Compare Bloom's taxonomy with other models and identify the pros and cons. So Bloom's taxonomy is one of the model. The same way there are other taxonomies like solo taxonomies, there different taxonomies are there. And if you are asked to compare it, Bloom's taxonomy with other taxonomies, and if you are able to identify the pros and cons, that means you are evaluating it. That is the evaluate level question. Or another question is about multiculturalism. Critically evaluate the practices of multiculturalism. Okay. Or the third one, evaluate the state of welfare in the union territories. So you have studied about union territories, the privileges, the legislature, the features, aspects, everything. And finally, you are going to evaluate the state of welfare in the union territories. So that is the evaluate level of question. And finally, coming to the create level. So what are the demonstrated skills? Use old ideas to create new ones. Okay. Combine parts to make a new one. Generalize from given facts related to knowledge from several areas. Predict or draw conclusions. So the action verbs are design something, formulate, build, invent, create, or compose, generate, derive, modify, develop, integrate, what if, etc. So all these comes under the create level of action verbs. Now, create a new model for classification of the learning objectives. So instead of Bloom's taxonomy, now you have gone through many other taxonomy, other models, and you have identified the pros and cons. Now, if you can come out with a new model for classification, that can be a create level question. Then develop a presentation to inspire multiculturalism. So the students will be able to develop a presentation. Okay, if say for example, if the student is presenting it like a multiculturalism is like a fruit salad. A fruit salad means every fruit has got its own identity there. That is about multiculturalism. Monoculturalism means just like mixed fruit juice. Okay, so there's a difference. So if the student is coming out with a creative idea, how to present the multiculturalism or how to inspire multiculturalism, some creativity is required. That is a create level assessment. Again, prepare a draft of the government policy of union territories if our country were a non-democratic country. So currently our country is a democratic country. So the government policy on union territories is already there. Suppose we assume that if our country is a non-democratic country, what would have been the policy of the government on union territories? So again, that requires a create level knowledge. Okay, that can be a create level question. Now, there are some policies to be followed. If you are implementing OBE, then the assessments and the exam reforms, UGC has mentioned that not more than 40% of low order questions. So that means 60% of our questions should be higher order. That is the suggestion by UGC. So you can also go through your question paper and the previous question papers. Anyway, today I will give you a task and you will be analyzing your previous question papers, and definitely we will be discussing in the next day so that you can understand where we are now. Okay, and suppose if you want to improve, so what should be done for the improvement of the assessments? And that also you can mention for the accreditation purpose. So all these analysis, the study is very important, and based on the study, you are making improvements. Okay, so that you can showcase for the accreditation purpose. Now, I have a few questions. Just we'll go through some of the examples, and we will identify which taxonomy it belongs to. This is a question. The question you can read there. Analyze the motives of the speech by Mark Antony, the Shakespearean play Julius Caesar. So this is the question. Analyze the motives of the speech by Mark Antony in the Shakespearean play Julius Caesar. Now the context is also given there. A student learns from the notes, okay, and gives a perfect answer to the question in his own words. That is the context of this question and how the student is answering it. Okay, so can anybody suggest which taxonomy level this question is? You can put in the chat box which taxonomy level it is.
Participants, if you raise your hand, I will unmute you so that you can directly answer.
That's a good idea because I'm not able to.
Yeah, if they raise their hand, I will unmute them.
Anybody? What is the level of this question? Is my screen is visible now? That
Sir, at my side, it is level 4 analysis.
okay.
Remembering, understanding, then application, and fourth level.
So all these answers are coming, no? Okay, fine.
Here, some answers level 4, create level.
Okay. So this is the question. It start with analyze. Analyze is definitely an action verb coming under the analyze level. Okay, that means level 4. So the question start with analyze, the action verb analyze. But the problem is, the context is given here so that the student is learning from the notes. Learning from the notes and just memorizing the things, but is answering to the question in his own words. Okay, so maximum we can give the understanding level because not just memorizing it and answering it, but he's giving a perfect answer in his own words. Although the question start with action verb analyze, that's the 4th level, but the context is different. Okay, so that's why this question is of level 2 only. And I have another question. Find the volume of a cube when one of its sides is not. What is the level of this question? Any suggestions are there?
Participants, either you can raise your hand or you can chat using chat window. Anything is okay.
The second question, find the volume of a cube when one of its sides is not. So what level it is? We have all the 6 levels for Bloom's taxonomy.
Level 3, some answers are like level 3, sir.
Level 3, that means apply level.
Yeah, and some are telling evaluate level.
Okay. Okay.
And one more telling you apply level.
Apply level. So that is
Yeah.
level 3. Apply level is level 3. Now,
Yeah.
so actually, I'm trying to give you some insights here. You can see find the volume of a cube when one of its sides is not. What is the cognitive challenge of this question? See, for example, there is a formula for finding the volume of a cube. And the student is required to memorize that formula and substituting the value in the formula only. Okay. So he's not applying it in a real life situation or somewhere. And the question is also very straight. That means the cognitive challenge of the student, if you consider that one, it is not apply level. Okay. It's just memorizing the formula and substituting the value there so that you will get an answer. All these type of questions, even though the action verbs start from the apply level of taxonomy, the question is only of maximum K2 understanding level because only to understand which formula he has to use, or it is nearly a K1 level, level 1. So this is not apply level. Usually every faculty, especially mathematics faculty members, they think that this is an apply level question. I'm also from mathematics, that's why I told you. Now, we have another question. Student is asked to conduct an experiment and examine the result of the experiment and record his conclusion. Student is asked to conduct an experiment and examine the result of the experiment and record his conclusion. So what is the level of this question?
Answer is from my side, sir. Is it application level?
Application.
Applying is understanding.
It is just like a SWOT analysis. Say, for example, the student is conducting an experiment. Any other answers? Here, this can be an analyze level question because just like as I mentioned, just like SWOT analysis. So he's analyzing with his knowledge about the subject. Now, debate the pros and cons of net banking. Debate the pros and cons of net banking. What level it is?
Some answers are like level 4, sir.
Level 4. Okay, that is analyze level. Actually, debate the pros and cons of net banking means he's evaluating it, no? He's evaluating the net banking, the system. Then only he can identify the pros and cons. So this is an evaluation level question, provided the faculty is not providing, giving the notes in the class. Otherwise, it's an evaluate level question. Okay. Match the following inventions with their inventors. Everybody knows this is a Roomber level question only. Just memorizing the things and answer it. Create a new model for classification of the learning objectives. That is definitely create level question. No, this is the only create level question in this set of examples. No. As I mentioned in the beginning, it is very difficult to ask a question of create level in the semester exam because with a limited time, the students may not be able to write the answer for a create level question. So, for example, if you ask the student to create a new model for classification of the learning objectives instead of Bloom's taxonomy, he has to go through many reference materials, he has to study about the different taxonomies, then only he can create a new system. So most of the create level questions is very difficult to ask for the semester exam. Even evaluate level questions are also difficult for the exam, theory exam, like a continuous assessment exam or a internal exam or a external exams. But you can ask these type of questions in the continuous assessment for some other activities like you can have assignments, you can have seminars or a project work, case study, scenario-based case studies. A case study, of course, you can ask on the final exam also for the MBA or BBA program. But that also may be maximum of the analyze level or apply level or analyze level. These are not of the create level. So most of the create level questions, it's very difficult for you to ask for the exams. Okay. So we will have a task, and before that, I will just share. This one. This is a partlet I already shared in the chat box. Once more, again, I will share this partlet once more, the chat box, so that you can. Just open the chat box. Just open the chat box and you can go to the Padlet. So you can see some questions, sample questions based on Bloom's taxonomy. So you can use Bloom's taxonomy now and frame a few questions in your subjects that we will discuss. See, for example, we'll start with a particular question like, I will post a question here. The understanding level. What is GST? So this is a question I posted there in the remembering level. What is GST? Somebody can post a question on the understanding level, the same subject GST. You can frame a question the understanding level, or you can frame a question the applied level, the same subject GST. GST is common to all. Everybody knows what is GST. So that's why I chosen that particular topic. Or otherwise, you can frame a question in your subject, your course, and you can just post it under the respective taxonomy level. We'll discuss just few questions, and we will go to another task, that is analysis of your question papers.
Some are posting in chat window only, sir. Zoom chat.
Okay, please post it the Padlet. Just open the Padlet. You can post it and just click it and post it here.
The link which I shared, no, that you can click and there you can post. Who are posting, don't post it on the chat window.
Okay, there's a question like explain GST. Explain in your own words what GST is and why it is used. That is good. So that is actually an understanding level question. The second question posted there. Explain GST is again, it can be a remember level question because the student can understand the concept. Just memorize it and they can write the answer. But the second one, explain in your own words what GST is and why it is used. That is an understanding level question. Okay. So can you post an apply level question or an analyze level question? Or you can frame a question in your subject also. You apply. How would you describe the impact of GST? That is a good question, but it can be the higher order. Like it's not in the applying level. How you describe the impact of GST means, say, maybe you can ask a specific question, impact of GST in the small industry sector or something like that. So that the student has to study it, analyze it, and finally, it can be an evaluate level question even. It can be an evaluate level question. The participants, you can also comment on the questions, if required. Okay. That question you can put in the evaluate level. Okay. Calculate the total cost of an item priced at ₹100 if a 10% GST applies. How GST is better than earlier tax system? So we have two questions here. On the applying level, the first question, if you just check the cognitive challenge of the first question, calculate the total cost of an item priced at ₹100 if a 10% GST applies. See, for example, to calculate the total cost, it's very easy, no? It's very easy because just calculate the 10%, add it with 100. That's all. So that can be maximum understanding level question. Even if you start the question with the action verb calculate, the problem is the cognitive challenge of the student is not up to that level. That is not required there. So it can be an understand level question. How GST is better than earlier tax system? That is actually an analyze level system. So you can put it in the analyze level. The student is analyzing GST with the previous system like what, compare what and GST. That can be an analyze level question. Discuss the impact of GST on Indian economy. That can be again an evaluate level question, because the impact means after analyzing, they will be evaluating the impact. Okay. How would you describe the impact of GST? These are all evaluate level questions. And what about a create level question? Anybody can come with a create level question. The same subject. What is the impact of GST after 5 years? What is the impact of GST after 5 years? Yeah, good. Okay. Evaluate the effectiveness of a tax incentive program designed to encourage organizations to invest in renewable energy. Very good. That is again an evaluate level question. Okay, why we are discussing all these things here? No, now you can see the higher order, some of the higher order questions like evaluating and creating. It's very difficult to ask for the final exam, semester exam, but this can be provided as an assignment or as some other task during the continuous assignment. Design a model for GST for consumer. Okay. So that means instead of GST, if we can come out with a new model, that is a career level question. How can you analyze the impact of GST on various economic sectors? How can you analyze the impact of GST? Impact of GST, it will not come in the create level. It will be coming in the evaluate level only. But if you ask a question like, what is the impact of GST after 5 years? That can be a career level question. Okay, because after 5 years, what will happen? The student has to come out with a create level answer. No? Okay. What effects does the GST have on Indian businesses? What effects does the GST have on Indian businesses? You're put in the remember level only. The remember level means suppose the faculty is giving notes. Then this question can be in the remember level. Otherwise, it can, what effects means it can be an analyze level question or even evaluate level question. Now, you can frame some of questions from your subject. Maybe today, if it is not possible, next day you can do it. And you can come out with, we will discuss that also. And Padlet, you can see this is useful for collaborative learning. So the faculty members, we are you are posting questions here, and the other participants, they can comment on it, whether I can say whether it is the, see, for example, in the apply level, how GST is better than earlier tax system. There is a question like this. You can comment on this. This is actually not an apply level question. This can be an analyze level question. So you can comment like this. Calculate the income tax payable for an income of 20,000 and a tax rate of 20%. That is not applying actually, sir, because just calculate the 20%. That's all, no? Or if you ask the student to prepare the income tax return or GST return, that may be more more knowledge is required in that case, so that they have to understand the the assumptions like insurance or other areas. Okay, how can you analyze the impact of GST on various economic sectors? In sales across various. So actually, this is not a create level question because, as I mentioned, the comment, uh, it requires analyzing GST's impact, synthesizing insights. Okay, insights across various sectors. That's all. That is only in the evaluate level. No, it's not on a create level. Okay, so I hope you understood the concept of Bloom's taxonomy. The thing is, you should uh, check what is the cognitive challenge of that question. That is very important. See, for every question, the action verb, you'll be using some action verbs. The action verbs alone will not classify them in the particular level. But you have to check the cognitive challenge of the student in answering that question. That is more important. Okay. So you can also post some other question from your subjects. Maybe next day we can discuss that. And this is again another partlet we have already shared. Here you can put your doubts. You can click this plus sign and you can post your doubts here so that we will discuss that in the last day. And I have another task. Hope you can see this Excel template. Is it visible? I have shared an Excel template. So can you see this Excel template? Is it visible?
Yes, yes, sir, visible.
It's visible. Okay. So this is actually for analyzing your question paper. This is very important because I already mentioned, no, when we go for accreditation, you can just mention it there. Like if you have analyzed your previous question papers, so last year question paper, and how you are analyzing it. So there are 3 sheets available. Just fill only the first one. The remaining things, all these analytics, the visualization will be available once if you input the values here. Now, for example, your question paper contains say 20 or 25 questions. Okay. So you can pick one of your question papers, the previous exams, and your question number 1, you can put what is a section there. Is it section A, B, C, D, or a part A, part B, or part C, whatever it is. You can put it, you can select that section there. Maybe section A, your first question. And you can select the taxonomy of that question. Suppose it is remembering level. And the mark you can input there. Usually the first question may be of 1 mark or 2 mark or whatever it is. So the same way, the second question you can again the section you can mention it there. If it is an applied level question, again the mark you can give. Suppose it's an understanding level question or something. Then again the next question, again suppose maybe from section A, Put it there. Suppose I have the first 4 questions in the section A. 1 mark question. Now remaining maybe 5 mark question or 10 mark question, whatever it is. Just fill these columns, 3 columns only. First column is the section, maybe your part A or part B or whatever. You can put section A, section B, section C there. Then the taxonomy level, you can select it from this second column. You can select it. And marks, just input the marks of that particular question. You may have different questions have different marks. So you can give that mark there. So you'll get an analysis here. Okay. So you can put your program name or course name, year, semester, etc. And your remarks also. Okay. What about the question paper? You can give an analysis of the question paper. Okay. Now, you can complete it and you can again submit it in another Excel sheet. Sorry, another Padlet. Just complete this and save this Excel sheet and upload it in another Padlet.
Sir, one doubt, sir.
Yeah.
That Excel sheet is available, huh? Will
That
you
Excel
share
sheet
that?
I will share now, sir. I will share it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So here you can just click this plus sign and you can upload that file. I'll share that Excel sheet also. And this one I will share in the chat. So this is a Padlet where you can upload that Excel sheet. Once if you complete it, you can upload it. Just one.
Are you sharing in chat window, sir? Zoom chat window?
I will, sir, I will share it in the your WhatsApp.
Okay, okay.
Just one minute. I shared in your WhatsApp, sir. Okay, so that task you can complete so that we will discuss that also maybe next day. Can go through, you can select one of your question papers, all the question papers, and you just fill that 3 columns what I have mentioned so that we can understand where we are now. Okay, and after analyzing that, if you want to improve that, say for example, if you want to have a policy based on it, you can mention that when we go for accreditation, that you have analyzed all your assessments, and based on that analysis, we have decided to set a policy for our assessments. Okay. So any doubts or anything related to Bloom's taxonomy? If you have any doubts, you can post it in the chat box or you can directly ask. And also you can post your doubts on that Padlet. The coming days we will be discussing that doubts also.
Participants, I will be sharing on poll. This is for attendance purpose. I request all the participants to answer the poll. You can see the poll on your screen. There are 3 questions. You have to answer that. This is for attendance purpose. I can see like 50 percentage are answered. First question answered by 100 percentage. The poll will end with another 1 minute. Dear colleagues and participants, I have shared the Excel sheet shared by Mendus Jacob sir in our WhatsApp group, SUIT faculty group. I'm not able to upload here in chat window. Okay, if you are not able to answer the poll, anyway, the participant list will be recorded. That I will count, don't worry. If you have any questions, you can raise you can raise the hand using option available in the taskbar of Zoom. I will unmute you and you can ask question directly to sir. Anyone having any doubt?
If you have the computer faculty members, uh, nowadays IT companies, they recruit uh, students, and there are two, three areas, two, three tasks they used to give. One is code optimization. Code optimization means they'll be providing the student, the candidate with, say, a few lines of code, like maybe 500 or 1,000 lines of code, and ask the student to uh, optimize the code, or we call it code optimization. So that is one of the tasks the companies will be providing for shortlisting the students for the recruiting process. Code optimization means it's the minimum analyze level. It is not below that. The same way they have some other task called debugging. Identify the bugs in the code, the given code. That is again an analyze level question. So uh, the companies, when they recruit, uh, they will be evaluating the students on the higher order. So we have to set a benchmark. That is also important. See, for example, all of us as faculty members, during the COVID time, we were conducting online classes. And for online classes, the students were not that much serious. And again, the exams, most of our universities, we used to conduct online exams during that time. Uh, and again, almost 100% pass. Okay. So during the COVID time, we are more lenient about the assessment and all. So most of the students, they used to pass for the exams, and because of the digital evolution during the COVID time, a lot of opportunities, job opportunities were there. So many of our students, they were getting placed. But nowadays the situation has changed. Now the jobs are less, mainly because of many factors, like economic recession is there due to war, and again the impact of AI is there. So many, especially many IT companies, they are firing employees nowadays. Okay, so and recruitments are less for the freshers. So now we have to set a benchmark. So usually what students do, uh, uh, what they do, they used to collect the old papers, question papers, and they will study those topics, the particular topics, and they will write exam, and most of the students, they're getting passed. So this, and we have already set a benchmark. That is the old question papers. Now we have to raise the benchmark. See, if you analyze most of the question papers, all university, all over India, so wherever I go for sections like this one, we used to conduct this analysis. And in the last month, I was in one of the top colleges in India, which was there in the top 10 in the NIR ranking. There also we have analyzed the question paper, and you can see around 80 to 90% questions are the low order questions. Okay. So that was a benchmark we already set. Now we have to change that benchmark. And this is an analysis you can do. And based on this analysis, you can have a department council meeting or a program wise the faculty meeting, so that you can fix a policy. You can set a policy, how many questions in different learning levels. like lower or higher order. So all this can be done. That will definitely improve the quality of the education, the quality of the students also. Because once we raise the benchmark, definitely the students will follow it. Otherwise, what happens, already the benchmark is on the lower level now. The students will be just, uh, watching that benchmark and preparing themselves along with the uh, that benchmark. Okay. So in OB, what we can do is using Bloom's taxonomy framework, you can design the curriculum, as I mentioned earlier. Then you can have assessment activities, teaching, learning, all activities you can focus on the outcomes. So the next day we will discuss about outcomes, how to design outcomes and how to map outcomes. And again, the benchmark we have to set there regarding outcomes also. So once if we design the outcomes, our goal and our focus, everything will be based on the outcomes. Okay, to achieve the target fixed by the institution in different outcomes. So how to attain that outcomes, that is very important. All of our students, we should focus. Every student should focus on attaining the outcomes. Okay. So that is the philosophy of OB. And in OB, we used to say like this: begin with the end in mind. So first of all, what are the outcomes we have to occur? Uh, and based on that only, we will design the syllabus, we will design the curriculum, again, the different activities. Okay. So thorough understanding of Bloom's taxonomy is very much essential. As I mentioned earlier, everywhere we will be applying Bloom's taxonomy. And then insights on Bloom's taxonomy, that is required nowadays. So earlier, every institution, when we started with the implementation of OP, we were focusing more on the action verbs only. Now you have to go one step ahead. So you have to identify go through the insights. Not only with action verbs, we have to identify the cognitive challenge of that particular question. That is very important, that today we were discussing it. And you can also definitely post some of your questions and on that Padlet, so that we'll go through that Padlet next day. Yeah. So that's about today's section. Tomorrow, next day, we will be discussing about the outcomes. Okay. The framework of OB, then designing outcomes, etc.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for a wonderful session. If participant, do you have any questions? If you have any doubt or questions, you can either chat using Zoom chat window, or you can raise your hand so that I can unmute you. Praveen sir, you can make concluding remark for the today's FDP.
Uh, Sir, thank you for your wonderful session. I request all the faculty members to exercise that exercise in that Excel sheet by using our old question papers. I think we'll get more information in the next session. Thanks for your wonderful session, sir. Thanks to Krishna Prasad and thanks to our Dean, Dr. Ramakrishna Hegde, sir. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, everyone. Here we end today's session. Thank you, Mendus Jacob, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you all the participants for your patience. We'll meet again. Okay, thank you.